Peace, love, and light, everybody. So this is part 2 of the rant. The divine feminine, divine masculine rant. So I was really thinking about this. I'm sure as I dream about it, there'll be tons more. But the first thing I want to say is, if this is the path that you're taking and you are striving to be a divine feminine, a divine masculine, meaning you're deciding to go back to how we're supposed to be according to the law of gender, which is a law of the universe, okay, which I'm going to read you the definition verbatim. But I just want to say this, if this is your path, okay, you need to understand, both of you, that the divine feminine is starting off where the divine feminine mother should be leaving off. That is, if he had a divine feminine mother. Which, in my generation, probably not. I don't know. Generation X was so feral. Like, we were so feral that they had to put a commercial on at night that says 11 o'clock. Do you know where your children are or whatever? Like, our parents forgot they had children. Like, that's how serious it was. So if you're trying to go back to this and you're trying to break out of this programming of what mom, dad, grandma, grandpa did, but kind of like what great grandpa and great grandma did on some other level, kind of like what is known what is understood does not need to be like spoke about. Like, there's some things, like, I'll give you an example, like, oh, like, you're number one in my life. Like, why do you have to say shit like that? Like, that, why do people say stuff like that? Like, of course, like, your children are gonna be like if you had to choose, you're always gonna choose your kids. You know? Like, some people choose their kids over themselves, you know? So, anyway, so let me tell you what the definition of the law of gender is. And this is a law of the universe. The masculine and feminine principles, which we're going to read, and I added in my own. The masculine and feminine principles are complementary and inseparable forces that exist on the same spectrum. Now, this did not say the same. This did not say equal. This did not say, what's that word? That they use all the time when somebody looks like a man and a woman at the same time, like that Timothy Chalamet. So that they didn't say, like, they don't switch rules, didn't say anything about them switching rules. It says they have principles of their own, okay, that are complementary to each other, but they're inseparable forces. We can't, like, we're together. We complement each other, and I'm going to show you guys how. We're not separable, all right? We exist on the same spectrum. We're both trying to achieve the same thing, living. Okay, you just have to find somebody that, I mean, we've gotten so far from this, like what I'm about to talk to you guys about, that, like, that's a whole nother story. Like, I'm speaking to people who are on this divine feminine and divine masculine journey like I am. So, now, I forgot to mention that she is going to inherit, and so is he going to inherit, a program, or many, in this person, in this day and age. Okay, we'll talk a little bit about it. Is it an only child? Is it how many siblings does it have? Did it have a parent? Both parents? Neither parents? Was it raised by the streets, institutions, foster care, juvenile delinquent homes? Was this person abandoned? Did they have love? Were they raised on survival? Were they raised on love? Now, if you're going to do this together and you're going to try to break this shit down together, you're having a serious miscommunication. And one of the things that I mentioned, it's the number one. Dude, I freaking, yeah, okay. The number one, how the masculine thinks rationally and how we think emotionally. So it also goes back to the spatial thinking with the enlarged hypothalamus in the male. They're not meant to multitask like us, okay? So they're spatially orientated, so they go from point A to point B, where we use our feelings to figure things out. So you know how to figure out complex situations. So boom, 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 like we move quick. But this is our biggest communication issue, okay? Because men think that because we have emotions leave an imprint, all right? So when a female has unfinished business with a man and he hasn't validated her or made her feel safe enough, like reassured her, especially if she has trauma and she has issues or whatever, and that's all of us now these days, so get used to it, take heed. If there's unfinished business, if it comes up again, the same issue, she's gonna act like the same way that she did when it first happened. And the male doesn't remember it emotionally. He doesn't have an emotional imprint. He is based off of action. We're manifestors. He is action orientated. That's why we're his sage, his muse, his comfort. You ever hear men say, oh, I want her to be my peace, but like they're full of nothing peaceful. So I wanted to say that was like our number one. Okay, so I wanted to also go through a few things and we use a few examples. Okay, so men, we spoke on logic, right? Men think on logic. So think about how we think, our intuition, all right? So when our subconscious is when we're not healed correctly, when our amygdala, our vagus nerve, when we are not brought into our feminine, we are not healed correctly, our intuition can become so skewed that we act as a wounded feminine, which is very insecure. We become very codependent, needy, highly manipulative, because we're just very unsure, inauthentic, because we're like not even sure of the situation, so we're not sure of ourselves, like, because we don't trust ourselves, right? Over emotional, and like a victim mindset. So to bring her out of that, so she can learn to trust her intuition, so she could be of use to you, divine masculine. Okay, because I'm going to share a few of those with you. When she's brought into that, she's more of use to you. She can think clearly. She's no longer like, oh, I'm sorry. You can always tell an abused woman when she's constantly like, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. No, you're not. And say, I apologize. You are not a sorry person. Remember, words are spelling. So you can always tell one of those, like, who doesn't know how to take compliments. I'm like one of those people. Now I just smile, like, okay, thank you. You know, it meant enough for them to say it, whatever. It's like show thanks. So basically you want her to be in her feminine because you're using reasoning skills all the time. And yeah, you'll call your buddies and they're gonna give you like, yeah dude, like fucking, let's say you have conflict at work, fuck them up, or like blah blah blah. You're gonna call like 10 different buddies to get like the same answer. Okay, so she nurtures you while you're going through these reasoning skills. Like, you ever watching the movies, like, while the feminine is like relaxing the male, he's basically talking about like what he's going through, what he's trying to accomplish, and she cheers him on. Like, she nurtures him, she feeds him, she makes him feel safe. Do you know what I mean? When did we stop making each other feel safe? When did that become not a fucking cool thing to do? Do you know what I mean? So that's just one of the ways, right? So if he's the right brain, before I go any further, let me explain a little further. If she's the right brain, which is intuition, empathy, patience, allowance, that's where the leadership comes in on his part, compassion and grace. Now remember, these things complement, these traits complement each other, okay? So now when I read the left brain, which is the male, okay, and now the harmony of the law of gender is coming into harmony, okay? Left is all needs, doing, assertiveness, independently, needs healthy competition. Let me move this over because I gotta plug this in. Needs healthy competition, okay? That's another thing we need to talk about. Right when we started talking about it, society-wise, they had people pop up and tell us what healthy masculinity looks like and blah, 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 blah. Because we have a few generations of, like, fatherless boys. And I was just talking with this, about this topic with somebody, like, yeah, a lot of men have been raised very sassy by their mothers, by their grandmothers, you know. So basically, okay, so if these two forces come together, if intuition comes together with like his need to do, like, how many things do you pick up on, ladies? Like, how many ideas do you have? If you only could get out of your masculine and stop working outside of the home and use your creativity, which is part of your divine femininity. He's going to want you at home being creative with the children, being creative about what you guys can do, about how you can keep it alive, like how you can, I mean, it's all for him. Like, if he would just think on this, if he's taking the lead, he's taking the first step. So it's like your move first. So if it's your move first, it's all contingent upon you. We mirror you, divine masculine. Okay? So now here's another one, action, right? We just went through like the action of needing to take action. So what do you think a man's supposed to do when he's needing to take action? In this world today, to take action, that means he's taking action to protect and provide for his family. All right? And if you take that off the table, what is he doing? Now, I know people are going to say I'm judgmental and this and that. I am speaking to a divine feminine, divine masculine, the people who are trying to get back to the law of gender, okay? Not if it works out for you and she likes to lead and blah, blah, blah. That's your programming. My programming is this. Do you know what I mean? Like I said in the last one when I was going on a little bit of a rant. Hey, gal. Like, it's your job to bring her into that. That's it. Like, We just haven't been taught. So now we have to be patient with each other. We have to learn. I was speaking on this before I even started to live the divine feminine. I was just observant enough and empathetic enough to put myself in a situation and manifest something like it, but not fully. Just very wounded. And then this past year, it's just, I'm telling you. So, you know, like me and my twin flame have he's not a friend or I don't know what he is, but he's very jaded, very misogynistic, and he'll like send I swear he tries to destiny swap with them. He's like, oh, you just let your woman drive the boat or whatever, because he like wants to be like my twin flame, which is, he's completely authentic, and that is part of being a divine feminine masculine. You're very authentic. In the wounded, you're inauthentic, like this person we're talking about. And he'll say things to me like, oh, I didn't know you had time to go to college and this and that. And I'm like, yeah, it's called Work on Yourself University. Like, I can just send you a referral. You know, and my divine masculine is like, he's no nonsense, and he's Scorpio. He's like, what are you doing? I don't even respond to him. So that is an example of one. And I'm trying to tell him, like, I'm speaking to a specific group, okay? So whatever. So and I said, there's 9 billion out there. I'm sure there's one for you. I'm sure you, because he's like, I've had 13 years. You already proved my point. You're gonna snag one, you know. So if he's very action orientated, then work, physical cultivation, that could look like many things. That could look like him going to work every day, or that could look like him working for himself, working in the yard, working on his vehicles, working on his children, something for his children, something electronically, like spatially, you know, fixing something, and that goes along with healing. So if he's our age and he has any sort of injuries, we're not only healing the inner, but we're healing the outer conditions as well. So we're healing his mind, depending on where his mother left off, and we're healing the outer as well. And I say this, we divine feminine, because if you're gonna try to make something work now these days, you have to be flexible and real with yourself. And you better make sure you're damn fucking perfect. It's not why you have a partner. You have a partner to grow, not romanticize with. That's bullshit. It's not this type of relationship. This is all about cultivating and growing with each other, and from that comes a deep love and romance, okay? So where he would be firm, she is gentle. And a great example of that is like child rearing. Or it could be like, he could tell you like, listen, babe, you are doing way too much. Like, you don't even like to do this. And you're like, you know, you're right. Like, not like, you know, like, or not him like coming off as like jealous, like you're doing too much, like relax, like, you know, like there's two different, it's all about communication, right? Okay, so he's about survival, finding a home base. That's why it's important for a man to protect and provide. He is all about survival. Okay, that hemisphere of the brain left is about survival, right? So it's just, you know, it's part of it. Food, money, it doesn't matter. You know, like shelter. And she expresses that by cultivating a home and making it peaceful for them. Do you know what I mean? Like when he brings home the food, she is going to make a beautiful meal. If he is tilling the yard, she is going to make something awesome from those veggies. She cultivates whatever he provides. That's the bottom line. Children, him, of course, like her relationship with God, herself, animals, her fucking community, like others, Does she care? That's another thing. You'll know a divine feminine if she has empathy and compassion and cares about the world, okay? Like, she cares about her neighbor, you know? So, rationale's another one for a male. And we talked about how that is a huge, how do you say it? A huge communication issue with us. Like, men are from Mars, women are from Venus. Because it's just how men think. And they think we are just, like, insane. And I already explained that, you know, and why. It's how we act. Now, if you are and you're wounded, you are going to act very, very, like, victim mindset, over emotional, make a big deal out of it, like, drag it forever, like, forever, you know, and he's gonna look controlling, super aggressive. I put addicted and withdrawals because these types of men are always addicted to something, whether it's porn to fucking actual drugs or like a sport, like something, gambling, like anything, I don't know, anything, shoes, I don't know. But they're always going through withdrawals because they realize they're fucking up and they're like spending too much on themselves and their family's lacking, like, so they're very avoidant, very competitive, too competitive, like where they can't teach you anything, where they're like, you're their adversary and their arch nemesis, not a partner. Like, relax, ego. Not with me, baby. Like, maybe in the bedroom. Very abusive and very unstable. They're not the same person all the time. They don't have the same, even their essence changes. That means they're hanging around with all different types of people. They're spreading their energy everywhere. It's deep, okay? So this is what a divine feminine is going to look like. And we'll talk about it as we go. Intuitive. It means she trusts her intuition. It means she's healed enough of her subconscious mind that kept telling her that she was garbage, and realized that this voice inside of her was divine and that she should have been listening to it all along. But noodles, no noodles, she has it now. But just know, she trusts it. And you can't get anything by her. Very grounded. Very grounded. It's a number one thing she's trying to do every day is trying to ground. Like, literally ground. Whether that could be you pissing her off, hurting her feelings, or literally grounding. She is like I use they call them mudras. I use those. I manifest in my mind. I ask the ancestors for help. Like, I be praying. Oh my God. Very supportive. She will support anything that you do. She's not going to get jealous. She's not going to be codependent. She's going to be interdependent. I forgot to add that one in there. You're very interdependent. So you're moving from a codependent relationship to an interdependent relationship, meaning you're both independent in the relationship and you come together. You do your thing, he does his thing, you come together. You trust each other. Like, you're very receptive. Like, you imagine what he's doing and what you're doing and how you can come together and both share both experiences. That's what's up. And there's times where you come together. It's pretty dope, you know? She can understand anything. She's not fixed-minded, not cognitive dissonance, very reflective, self-reflective. Always asking, like, well, was it me first? Like, was I overreacting? Very strong boundaries. We're seeing this happen right now. Women, especially with my female friends, they are going through creating very strong boundaries, okay? Very empathetic, they're very compassionate, and and these are the ones I added, they're highly magnetic, because I have one that's like, wow. Things flow effortlessly. Of course, there are things in my program that helped me public speak and be comfortable with it and not care what people think, but I don't give a shit what people think. unless I'm really hurting, I'm hurting them. Like, I'm missing the purpose here. Like what my purpose is to get love and light to, like the real deal, and I don't need distractions from anybody thinking I'm abusing an animal. You know what I mean? Like that was so surrendered, like very surrendered. I don't want to fight with anybody. I just want everybody to love everybody. Like, it's cool. We'll figure it out. We're not dead. Like, we weren't in a duel. We could figure this out. We have surrendered to a higher consciousness, a Godhead, a creator, a higher self. Like if you feel like you are God, you manifested this. There is something above that. Like, whatever you believe, like, you have surrendered. And you have realized this is not blind faith. I have surrendered because I've tried every other way, and the synchronicities are what they are. So that is the other two. I put open and trusting. That makes you very open and trusting. That's why it is insidious for these fake divine masculines to go around. And this was before they started gatekeeping the spiritual community when I was in it. They would talk the talk, but they would not walk the walk. Oh, queen this, queen that, bullshit. Like, they were still acting on ego and judgment, and that leads me to like us being like very creative and highly magnetic. Like I told you guys that. But so the divine masculine is not going to judge. Like, the only person they're judging is themselves from the day before. They're deeply present. Like, he is teaching you. He's present in what you're saying. He cares about what you're saying. He is very supportive. He has discipline, self-discipline. He doesn't get upset. If he doesn't understand something, he walks away. He doesn't trauma dump on you. He doesn't dump his day on you like that. He says it in another way. He appreciates the way you nurture him. He's very focused. He has tons of discipline, like with himself as well, taking care of his body. Very logical. So when our intuition can go off path or something can happen, he pulls us back. But this comes from trust. Remember, you taking the lead first, divine. You taking that lead first, divine masculine. Very confident, protective. That's not jealous. Protective is different. It's like, I don't like the way that man's looking at you. And fuck that dude. My man says something like that, then fuck that dude. He's right. He's a weirdo. He's very honest. He's very accountable. Like, if this was me, I thought it was me. Like, I apologize. Like, tell me. Like, very loyal. Has boundaries himself that you must learn to respect as well. Divine feminine. Because you're working on yourself too. And all those things I mentioned about the wounded. Like, figure out what parts of those you're wounded from, and we can quantum jump. But now here is and I've done much research the past few years on the divine masculine. The two things that keep coming up over and over again, and this is where I'm going to end the video, and you can decide if it's worth it or if it's not. If you're half-assed there, you're on the fence, or you're not, because it didn't happen yesterday, like, we're all just waking up to this programming. So the two things that came up were, he offers stability and he has responsibility for you. And it means what comes out of you as well. So I've seen that in a million different things that I've watched, read, blah, blah, blah. So he offers stability and he has, so what do you think that means? Provide and protect. What does dad do? What did mom do? She nurtured him. She nurtured him from the breast. I mean, we've got crack babies running around here, so you just like, and I'm not being funny. Like, yeah. So, We spoke yesterday about being selective, divine feminine, and having those morals. We talked about it earlier, expectations, the boundaries. It's important to have at least those if you're going to start dating again while you're healing. At least have the boundaries, because that's going to say, like, you having boundaries means that's your morale, like, that is it. You're not jeopardizing your peace for anyone. You have firm boundaries that will protect you in the end. Like, that's it. Okay, this is going on 30 minutes. So, I don't know what I should name this. Maybe coming together with the divine feminine, divine masculine. Coming back to the law of gender. Like, maybe this energy is a perfect time for it, because clearly it downloaded. I hope you guys enjoyed. Stay peace, love, and light. Have a good night.